So let's head over to the people's paradise, as the state is called, and speak with the man who emerged victor in today's case. We have joining us live on Politics Today tonight, Governor Bassey Otu, who's the governor of Cross River State. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Mr. Cowdy.
Well, I see that you have a smile on your face, but we all know how these cases go. Just before the judgments are delivered, it's usually the longest period of time. But tell us, were you at any point anxious about the outcome of the tribunal? Because the PDP and its candidate, Senator Sandiono, were quite confident that he had a solid case against your victory.
No, Mr. Cowdy, at no time did I feel that we were threatened in any way. Because my party and I believe elections are won in the field. And the results that came out of the field, in fact, we won in almost all the local governments. But they were able to come out with some results that were not BVAS compliance in terms of about 3 local governments or thereabout. So we won 15 out of 18. And we were ready to actually go head-to-head on the other 3 local governments that were remaining. But by the time we got there, they dropped the case, which was popular an election matter, and then moved to a pre-election matter, which, of course, all of them have court pronouncements, and almost all of it. So at no time was there any anxiety. We had known that this would come. And the victory of today, Kawede, I want to tell you, is actually a victory of the people. It's victory to Cross Riverians. We give God the glory, and of course, the credit goes to the courts, who have once more, the judiciary, who have once more demonstrated that they are the last hope of the common man.
Well, in the aftermath of that judgment, we've seen images of people celebrating, but quite curiously, we saw some carrying a coffin with certain names on it. And I wonder, in order to preserve the peace in the state, what you would say to those who might want to take the victory overboard, and those who are, of course, aggrieved by the result or the outcome of the tribunal?
Actually, my advice has been that no victor, no vanquish. I've tried in every pronouncement that I've made so far to make sure that we do have a peaceful Cross River. I've heard that things like that were done, but I wouldn't think they wanted to be violent. I normally condemn such acts in its totality, but for me, in terms of a Cross River, we are calling on the opposition to join us. I've always had open arms from the first day to today that, look, let us come together and build a strong and very Cross River. And that's my message again today, that it is time to leave the courts and come to the table to see how we can move Cross River State forward. You can actually factor jubilation across the whole state. That clearly speaks volumes to who won the election. So there's no need for us to continue again struggling in the courts, because power actually belongs to God and he gives it to who he pleases. And actually what we are operating is the people's mandate, with everybody inclusive. We are not saying the other party was opposition, but it was not. We've gone past that stage a long time. All we are looking for now is to come together to build Cross River and Nigeria as a whole.
And that speaks to the next point. There's a lot of work ahead of you. I mean, it's enough work to build a prosperous state. But now with your state called the People's Paradise, it is more work to build a paradise, as you know the name implies. So let's talk about the work which you have ahead of you. Some of them you've, of course, gotten into. And this one concerns not just your state, but the nation at large, but it will impact on your state. And it's Labour's ultimatum, that's NLC and the TUC. It will affect your states because in that statement, Labour says it will, of course, activate the state councils to also mobilize for protest and down-tooling as well. So they've directed all workers to withdraw their services from respective workplaces from October the 3rd. And I wonder, are you concerned? Do you think this can be salvaged? What do you plan to do, at least from your side, from sub-nationals, that is?
Actually, I believe that my appeal will be to Labour that it's not a good time to do it. Whatever issues that they brought on the table, over time, it will be addressed. You know, this government is just trying to settle down. And they came in at a point in time which we were just coming out of COVID distractions, and a lot of economies have been under the belt, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world. And workers being the main engine of this particular movement, if they're down tools, then it will be very bad. In my own state, subnational, we've been having regular discussions with labor. They understand both the macro and the micro economic issues that confront us, the challenges, actually, the inflationary trends, and the fact that even though we need to reflate our economy, we have to be very careful so that we don't go overboard. So my appeal would be that we sit down with labor and sort this out. I'm sure that my state, if they are on their own, will not like to go for any strike because we've done our best. We bend backwards to make sure that we're inclusive, we carry everybody along. We are very transparent, we don't hide anything, we take decisions, all of us together, and do things together. Times are tough though, but I believe that it's not just the workers that are facing tough times. Even those in the other non-formal sectors are also facing some very difficult times, which we've tried to bring all of them on board to make sure that we strike a balance. So my appeal to labor is, yes, times are tough. Let us shift the deadline and give government some time to settle down and see if we will not address all those issues with which they brought to the table.
Well, Your Excellency, I don't quite know how Labour will take appeals. I mean, the Speaker of the House has appealed to them. The Minister of Labour has also appealed. I don't think appeal is in short supply at this point, but Labour is quite vehement and specific. And what they're asking for is quite simple. They're asking that, government save Nigerians from what it described as the huge hunger and suffering experienced across the nation, first as a result of course, the hike in the price of petrol and other attendant issues. States were given 2 billion naira, hoping to top it up with an extra 3 billion naira to be 5 billion naira. And I imagine your state also got that. Have you been able to expend that money? What did you use it for? And do you still have more left, or you're looking to government to get the extra 3 billion? What exactly have you done with those funds?
Well, Kayode, actually, those funds are under a committee, which said a broad committee that involves both labor and all segments of our society, the traditional institutions, the youth, the students, and everybody. They are putting up structures. So far, one has not touched that money at all. But the palliatives we've done has been from the state government directly. We've added 10,000 naira to the salary of every civil servant. We've taken off virtually school fees. We are paying exam fees. And we are doing some cash transfers to people who are seriously cash strapped. We are distributing commodities like rice, etc., to areas that are badly hit. And we believe that this committee, in the few days to come, will be able to get a proper structure because we want this to get to the people who really, really need them. That has taken a little bit of time, but I think finally they've got the formula right, and we are going to be on it not too long. I believe that with these palliatives and the way it's done, because the salary addition I've done, I've said it will go ahead for about 6 months, because we are looking at about 6 months. In 6 months' time, this economy should be okay and quite stable. And we believe that before we get there, we should be quite okay. We've looked at all the indices and everything. There's no way we can actually run out of our space in terms of running and living the country. The problems is for all of us, not just government alone, including both labor and every sector, so that together we'll find solution to it. In Cross River, like I said, they're quite happy with the pace of things, but it's just that when they are calling all nationals, when they're calling the whole of Nigeria, then it becomes a problem. That's why we're appealing that please still give government some time to settle down. This issues is confronting a brand new government. And it was very necessary and foundational that subsidy be taken off, because truly it wasn't going to be right people. This has created billionaires completely, which has dislocated our economy in a way and manner that you cannot really look at value for things and say, yes, they are true. I believe that, yes, salary increase and all the things that comes with it. But if we increase the salary from, say, 30,000 to about 40,000 right now, He will buy what 30,000 was buying. So what really has been added to the economy? I think it's when almost every sector is touched, because I've seen that the federal government is multi-sectoral in approach in making sure that they're addressing all areas of emergency. So if Labour gives some small time, because it's a huge task, very.
Oh dear. I would, of course, reconnect with Governor Otu. He's making a vital point about the situation with Labour given the ultimatum and what is being done, and quite a number of issues to still touch on with Governor Basi Otu of Cross River State, who's been speaking with us from Calabar, the state capital, in the aftermath of his victory at the Election Petitions Tribunal. So we'll take a quick moment on the program tonight. When we return, we'll come back to Governor Otu and, of course, round off our conversation with him and take a look at issues that concern the Constitution, the laws of our lands. The judiciary is quite burdened, not just with cases, but other issues. These and more will form our conversation in just a few moments. Please stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. Welcome back to the program. Let's continue our conversation with Governor Basi Otu of Cross River State, who joins us live from Calabar, the state capital. It's good to have you back, Your Excellency. So let's continue on the point we were making. I don't know if you want to land on that point, because it's a very vital one, especially in the situation we find ourselves as a nation today. But also add to that governance in the state. Because there are those, for example, asking that the lost glory of Calabar be returned. On the one hand, they decried the dirty state of the city, and I'm sure you've seen images being put up across the board, and people asking what exactly is going on, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. I think that image is fast fading off. The city is wearing a complete new look now. We're still working on major structures, but for our streets, I think we are doing a lot to make sure that we regain and restore back actually the glory of Calabar. And Kaede, we are preparing for the carnival, which is coming in December. I would like to give you a very early invitation so that you come and see how quickly the state is going to look like before then. We're doing a lot, not just in terms of keeping the state clean. Economically, we're doing a lot of things. And we're trying to resettle some people. We are moving some markets to elsewhere. We're trying to open the roads. And the moment the rainy season is gone, I think people will begin to notice the changes. Already we've moved up the ladder in terms of cleanliness. We are doing our very best to make sure the glory of the city is back.
Right. So we'll come to some of the campaign promises you made, because you were on this platform just prior to your election as governor, and there were promises made. There were areas you said you'll focus on, and some of the promises you made, we'll touch on them. But you were recently quoted as saying that you plan to spend 3 to 5 billion naira to renovate your office and liaison offices, and that caused an uproar. People thinking, in this current Nigeria where we say we're cash-strapped, a government plans to spend that amount of money for renovation. Are you still going ahead with that, seeing the uproar that met that's your pronouncement?
No, actually, I think it was something that the social media carried. Whatever we're doing in Cross River State is very, very transparent. What I mentioned that day was that because the gentleman stood up and asked a question that he had between 3 to 5 billion. And I said, even if it's between 3 to 5 billion, I mean, the governor's office has to be done well, all our liaison offices and everything. But of course, we won't stop anybody from going to check what is the exact cost or value, or check what it is. But we have our priorities, and we are following our priorities diligently. So when they say renovation, I don't know what actually meant by renovation, because some of the things we are doing is total rebuilding and putting structures in place, which will actually also depict the cleanliness and the way that the government should be taken, and the way that government should be looked at. So actually, whatever cost is going to be, up till now, I cannot say, because we did not have the ESCO at a time. We now have our executive council. There's going to be a process, proper due process, and the figures will be made public, and everybody will come to the bidding and everything, and then we'll conclude. It's at that point in time that I will boldly tell you, okay, it is so cost. In terms of palliatives, like I said, we are doing our very, very best. We are moving. We've done free medicals. We've made sure that we're paying tuitions for people. We've made sure that anything that we are supposed to do, which will help our citizenry to be well, we are doing it. And you know, whether we like it or not as a state moving forward, our citizens must be healthy and strong. And after that, they have to see that the state is actually growing. So those renovations here and there, even though we have some serious legacy buildings to put in place, it's not major priority. We know our priorities and we're following them. And like I say, we carry all. It's an all-inclusive government, which we are discussing at the different areas. I don't know whether actually what we are doing here is outside there. We are operating the people's mandate.
Right.
It's actually what the people want that we do.
And you know, transparency, accountability is very important in governance, democracy, which is why it's good that you're with us here to answer questions that we put to you. That is very vital for democracy to thrive. Earlier on, you were talking about the removal of subsidy and saying it's the right decision, but I'm sure you're aware of the debate around whether or not subsidy has actually gone. I was speaking with Mr. Bismarck Rawani yesterday, who says, well, subsidy was just reduced. It's not entirely gone. For some other people, they believe subsidy is still very much with us. They look at the current price of crude. Incidentally, you're an oil-producing state, so you understand this very well. Now, you've been in governance, the National Assembly, for quite some time. So they look at the price of crude. They look at the naira to dollar over 1,000. They look at the price of diesel, which has been deregulated, and they say, what is going on with petrol? So do you really believe that subsidy has been removed totally?
Yes, I want to believe that subsidy has been removed, but because of the nature and the volatility of the markets, I think the government is just doing what is called bridging and cushioning the economy so that it won't be too difficult. By the time, I would say, the dollars coming from the sales of this product come into the economy, immediately the value of the dollar will drop, and then you will see the price of all these commodities also drop. But it doesn't come in one day. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of process. And I believe that the government is doing all it can to make sure that this is put in place.
Right. So let's speak to some of those campaign promises. It looks like this conversation might have to continue, but let's see how far we can push it. You promised on this platform to engage about 1 million youths in agriculture, starting with 10,000. In fact, you said that international organizations at that time were already indicating interest in some of your plans in the manifesto. Have you been able to do 10,000? Just how far have you gone with that plan?
No, we've not done 10,000 yet, but we've put a foundation and a structure that's going to do even more than that. We've already acquired about 3.5 million seeds of oil palm, which we are going to distribute to all perseverance. We are sending about the first, about 20,000 that are going to go in training, but all within the country. We are opening up areas, our land banks, and so on and so forth, so that these people will be able to be engaged very, very quickly. In terms of the ICT hubs, we are making sure that some of these hubs are coming up. We just had a meeting with the Silicon Valley reps some couple of weeks ago, and we know what support they are going to give us in terms of incubation centers and other things that we are going to do. So it's very, very clear, Kayode, that probably in a not too distant time we'll be talking again. I will tell you the number that's on ground. But those ones that we are preparing already are ready to move on. And those international organizations, like I say, have showed a lot of interest in our credit guarantee scheme, which is 30 billion. I tell you that what they've shown already, we almost right now have about 10 to 12 billion in place, which we're going to plow in immediately. And we're looking at oil palm, we're looking at rice, we're looking at cassava. In fact, we are looking to make this state the cassava state in the whole country. And we've set out about 100,000 hectares to move into that immediately, cassava and maize. and we're preparing that. By the time we finish this phase will definitely engage more than 50,000 youths, that I can assure you.
Right.
So we are ready and ready to.
Okay, I recall that you also said oil, palm, cocoa, and rice, particularly during that interview. But we have to wind down now, and I'd just quickly like you to put a time frame, particularly to the 2 billion naira, expending the resources or the funds for the people. When exactly is that going to start? Since you say they've gotten at least a plan to implement this.
The last time I discussed with the committee was just day before yesterday, and they said they are ready to move on Monday. But I've started paying the salaries already. Yes, the 10,000 I've added to every staff. So I started paying that already. And what we are going to give to cooperative societies and so on and so forth, with earmark that is also going to start upper way. The one that is going to the markets and transporters is also starting on Monday. So I think we are not doing badly at all currently.
Well, we'll definitely keep our eyes on the people's paradise. We'd like to thank you so much, Governor Basio, for at least giving us an insight into governance in your state this evening. We appreciate your time and we wish you the very best.
Thank you. I wish you the very best too. Thank you very much, Alan.